Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry my voice is a little sore. I'm just going to try to share a little bit of our Torah. This week we start learning the first Torah portion, Bereshis, and we begin the Torah anew. And the very first Rashi, which is written by the great commentator of Shlomo Yitzchaki, which was written in the 11th century, then to the 11th century. You know, today there are 82 Christian countries in the world, and there are 56 Muslim countries. And there's only one tiny Jewish state of Israel. And yet the world makes such a fuss about this little state of Israel. And it's fascinating to note that the very first commentary on the very first Rashi of the entire Torah, Rashi addresses the challenges that we're facing in the 21st century. It's almost like Rashi is writing his commentary in the 11th century to the BDS movement in the 21st. Says, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, he quotes his father, Rabbi Yitzchak, which is a beautiful way to start the Torah by commenting on something his father taught. And he says, why did God begin the Torah with, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth? After all, the Torah is a book of laws. It should have began with the first laws of the Torah. Why begin with a story about creation? Now you may think the answer is because it's going to teach us about Shabbat. 6 days God worked, he rested on the 7th day. But Rashi doesn't say that the reason God started the Torah was to teach us about Shabbat. Rashi is almost saying there's something even more essential that God's communicating to us by choosing to start the Torah with the story of creation. And what is that? Says Rashi. Read it in the text. He says, because if the nations of the world will come to the Jews and say, you're thieves, you stole our land, this is our territory, our land, who gave you a right to the land of Israel? What should be the Jewish response? In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Says Rashi, God created the world and he designated the land of Israel for the Jewish people. And therefore, if God is the owner of the universe, he can choose who to place on which piece of land. And therefore, it's God's will that we should have the land of Israel, and that is our claim to the land of Israel. God gave it to us. And in today's day and age, all Christians, all Muslims, all come from Judaism. And therefore, it's a monotheistic faith. Those people who are arguing with us, primarily the Muslims, saying it's their land, they believe in the Abrahamic faith. They believe in God. And therefore, they should respect what God wrote in the Torah. And it reminds me of the story I just told, that when David Ben Gurion was lobbying before the Peel Commission, as they were trying to repeal the British mandate over the land of Palestine, Israel, and David Ben Gurion testified on a Tanakh, on a Bible, and then it was questions from Lord Peel himself, and then Lord Peel said to David Ben Gurion, 1937, Mr. Ben Gurion, David Ben Gurion, he was then the chairman of the Jewish Agency, and he said to him, where were you born? He said, I was born in Poland. He said, it's funny, Lord Peel said to David Ben Gurion, that all the Arab leaders who came here told me they were born in Palestine. And all the Jewish leaders were born in Eastern Europe. Do you have a deed to the land of Palestine? The Arabs showed me their deeds. Where is your deed? Where is your ownership to this land? And David Ben Gurion picked up the Tanakh, the Bible that he had just sworn on, and he said, Lord Peel, this is my deed to the land of Israel. And so a lot of times we get caught up in the politics. Is Israel this, Israel that? We got to go back to basics. Basics is the first Rashi of this week's Torah portion, that this is the land God chose to give to the Jewish people. And in a day and age where the Bible is read and followed by more than half of the world's population, this is the strongest argument we have to the land of Israel. And even if they don't accept it, at least the most important thing is we should know we have a right to it. We should not be apologetic for the fact that we're in the land of Israel. If we are confident in our right and our claim to the land of Israel, then we will be compelling and convincing to the rest of the world.